Hi there, this is Hugh at the Builder's Office. Thanks for joining us again. In a continuing conversation, I'm sitting here with Toby and we're going to go through another part of the conversation that we have been discussing and see how much more we can actually deliver for you. So here we go, we're going to jump into part two of this discussion with Toby from Builtgrid. I know that just in the last couple of years, we've had COVID affect so many things. And those lead times, doesn't matter what we've tried to sort of do, lead times have been blown out and it has affected projects. I know that even though we'd sort of been forward thinking, we had the call forwards, mind you, ours were all paper based.
Yeah, you had to manage it yourself.
Yeah, we had to manage it ourselves.
The system does it for you, right?
Yeah. And so it's great that there can be a system that can manage that forward for us and can also sort of do that connection between the supplier, between the trades, and say this is when it's going to be due.
Yep.
Do you need more time? Do you need less time? Can you update regularly? And they obviously get the notifications say this is all happening. The experiences that we had and one simple one last year, and this wasn't COVID related.
Yeah.
It was not COVID related. But it was a natural disaster related delay. Something as simple as doors.
Yes.
Last year, doors were a pain in the ass to get. Because what happened? Floods in Sydney, the manufacturer, their entire site got flooded. Nobody was expecting that to happen.
Yep.
And that pushed a week turnaround time to be able to get particular doors, and we start talking about ones that might have this one particular door that created huge headaches for us, and it was the last thing to be put into the project because of this delay. Was a door that had the glass ones that have the blinds inside them.
Yep,
it was one of those.
Yep.
How are we to know that we'd been told it's generally a week, 1 to 3 weeks turnaround time to get this door. We order it in the time, and then because of the floods, we get told,
Correct.
Holy crap, that's blown out. And it blew out to 8 weeks.
I was going to say, how long did it take?
8 weeks. Yeah. From
well, and now look, there's always going to be things you can't control.
Yes.
And there's always things that have to be managed last minute. But if you put into simple terms, and you go, okay, well, if there's 20 builders that have got 20 orders placed for this date, and the supplier knows that here's my next 20 orders, then they'll go and manufacture it knowing that actually I know the call-up's going to be on time, etc. So, yeah, it's about being planned, but there's some things you can't plan for.
It's exactly right. And, yeah, the visibility that these sorts of systems can actually bring can just make life a lot easier. And it can definitely put a lot of security in place for homeowners, knowing that, hey, hold on a second, our builder's got this one bit of software, one bit of data that's being fed to them every single day that can make sure that our house is going to be delivered on time, and is also being courteous of the budget.
Correct. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is, okay, from a budget point of view, the more information you give up front, the more detail you provide in that original contract means that the scope of works is better, which means that the timing of the scheduling is better, which means the suppliers can plan and the suppliers can order the materials required. If they've only got one of a certain thing, they can actually put it away. So the benefits down the supply chain, ultimately this is all about the homeowner.
Yes.
It's about building more homes more efficiently for Australia, and ultimately that visibility will do that.
Yeah, well and truly. Like I can only see huge benefits for homeowners here, and I guess you could say that it would be nice if there was more being done to be able to facilitate this sort of thing happening for the everyday builder.
Yeah.
We know that the volumes, they've got all their systems, they've got a horde of people that they have to do all this sort of thing, but filtering that down to the smaller guys, and that's where a lot of the bane for homeowners has been, is that the smaller guys, they do fluff about. They don't have the systems in place that can make their life easier and can make things. But there's also some of those smaller builders, they're resistant to it.
Yeah, I think they're not resistant they're not always resistant to change and improvement. I think what we see is that normally around the third project that a builder's gone, okay, I've done it this way, I've tested the water, and by the third project they're going, okay, I'm all in. They need to, because when you're building a home, and you know this yourself, right? Your license is on the line, right? So you want to make sure that everything you're doing is right. So change in that space, in some cases, can be risky. So you test the water, you go, I'll try this bit here, I'll try this bit here. But to adopt change completely is probably, in your mind, one of the biggest risks as a builder. So I get it, but it's also, okay, if you don't throw yourself into the deep end, then you're not going to realise the biggest benefits. So if you sort of half-half, you sort of, sometimes it'll cost you more time because you're doing one thing one way, and you're trying to, I'll try this bit over here, and you end up sort of, it can confuse you, or you can not get the result you want, and then that then impacts your customer's result, right? So, and that's what we don't want. We don't want that. So what we generally see is most builders, they get to a stage of go, okay, I'm starting this project, I'm tendering at the moment, here's the suppliers involved, here's this, we get this in as a draft, because starting with a new one, starting fresh, gives you that opportunity to grow into something and work with your suppliers in that space. So you can communicate to them saying, hey, this is a different process, this is what we're doing. And generally when we find they do it that way, they get the best result. And more importantly, the best result for the homeowner. Because the homeowner's in the home earlier. Look, the downstream benefit for the builder is cash flow because they're getting to each stage quicker, which means, but ultimately, homeowners in their homes quicker. So, which is good.
Yeah, which is thoroughly brilliant. The things that we've seen for homeowners has been that with the ability to sort of deliver things sooner and that sort of thing, the homeowners are obviously going to be happier. How have you seen the builder's reaction to, say, homeowners being absolutely stoked with them, and then that filtering back into, say, the trades or the suppliers sort of wanting to jump on board and be more involved with the builders in that process?
Yeah, and I think it's the feedback loop, right? So a builder has a good experience. They generally bring their suppliers on board. I know you've spoken about trades a lot. And there's a lot of trades that want one more organised builder. Right. So we're also in a market where we're going from 220,000 homes to 150,000 homes a year, right? So there's going to be suppliers that want work. So in my opinion, if you've got a good group of trades and you want to build a bit of a community and you want to build more homes, then you get them on board as well. And so actually, if you come in and as a supplier you're using Builtgrid, there's an opportunity here for more work from builders working the same way as I do. So you're actually helping your mates out. You're helping your customer out because you're finishing your homes on time. They're providing great feedback to your potential clients because we know word of mouth for a builder is the most important thing or the best lead generator.
And now we're developing into social proof as well.
100%.
Social proof is one of the biggest things. Nowadays, like we can't constantly rely on referrals.
No.
But referrals are coming from social proof as well.
100%.
And it's a big thing.
The number of builders I've spoken to that said, oh yeah, we built this house, then we built one for the neighbour, and then we end up doing the whole street. So but it's that whole, to your point, social proof, right? So that feedback loop is constant because everyone's acting the way each business wants them to. So it's not getting to the last minute going, oh, I forgot to order this and I need you tomorrow. I talked to...
Which happens so commonly.
100%.
And there's the constant on the phone to a trade, and it might be, or a supplier, and it might be someone that they haven't necessarily used all the time, but they're on the phone going, oh, we're demanding this now. is that the relationship that you really want with a supplier? Because they're effectively going to blacklist you for being
correct.
Being an asshole or being a dick.
Yep. I love that you whisper those words.
I'll try not to say that too loud, but no, because hey, look, the microphone will pick up on all of it. But I've got to have some fun with this, because it's one of those things. Like as soon as you're blacklisted from a supplier, from a trade, or anything like that, that can then be detrimental. So why would you want to be ending up sort of calling them up so late in the piece to try and get things going?
But the other thing, and I think, look, we talk about process, and we talk about the builder a lot. There's a lot of things around mental health, and you're wearing the trademark shirt today, and I think if the builder just adopted great process, it would take a lot of pressure off. So we talk about the Builtgrid framework being, okay, so you win the work, you're locking in your trades and suppliers within sort of 3 weeks of actually
commencing the project.
Before commencing the project. So then all you need to focus on is the build. You know, everything's ordered. All you got to do is look at the schedule, call it up. With the 2 weeks notice, 3 weeks, whatever, a measure on site for frame and truss. It's then managing the project becomes a lot simpler. Now, we're not going to stop the apprentice cutting the wrong bit of timber and you having to go down to the local hardware store, but that last minute, we're never going to change. There's always going to be accidents, but variation conversations become easier because everything's locked in. There's bulkheads when they turn up because the customers change their mind. It's generally an easier conversation because it's all documented. So we want to take the stress off the builder and actually allow them to focus on what they do. And if it's procurement sorted, then they can just build the home. And they don't end up in all those situations of last minute calling things up, going, oh, I needed this yesterday. And it ends up being who's to blame. And it shouldn't be that combative relationship. It should be actually, here's our project, we want to deliver the best possible result for the homeowner. And everyone's proud of being part of that project because of what it's achieved, as opposed to, oh yeah, it's just another job. Because at the end of the day, you're building people's dreams, right? They're dream homes. This is the largest purchase most people will make in their life. So you want to make sure that experience is good from start to finish.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, I've spoken about it a lot. Where I want I want the homeowners to be effectively completing a project and then be smiling, and then go, hey, look. The job has completed on time, or even if it hasn't completed on time, or it's completed early, but they can go, hey, look, we were kept in the loop. We were reassured what was going on, but they didn't get to the end, which we know we've seen a lot of times due to some mismanagement that's gone on during the project, and you see a homeowner that moves into their house and they move in unhappy. I don't know if you've seen
walls aren't straight, or this isn't like they want to be moving in, and they've great communication, locked in price, variation conversations had on the way because they've changed their mind, but ultimately they're moving in and not smiling because of the handover gift, but smiling because they're going, look at the finish here. This is exactly how we wanted it. Like that product is what was specified. Like all those things along the way.
And how much does that start?
Correct, in a procurement process.
In the procurement process and earlier as well. But just being able to sort of specify these things and be able to make sure that what you're asking for is going to be delivered.
Correct.
Is something that's reassuring. So that sort of leads on to how do you then, as a homeowner, how would you go about asking a builder or asking somebody, doesn't matter who it is, even if it's just a trader, supplier, that sort of thing, how do we go about asking them, do you have these systems in place to be able to deliver this, or are you still running off a piece of paper?
I think I think it's a really good question, and I think a lot of builders talk about their process and what they do, and I think highlighting or demonstrating the tools you use in your business to the homeowner, and I think it is a really powerful thing. And so a new homeowner shouldn't they shouldn't be asking about your financials and whether you're profitable. That sort of stuff. It should be actually what does your process look like, and what tools do you have in your system in your business to actually make sure that we deliver on time and on budget. And I think when they go with a volume builder, they see those tools. They see a showroom. They're signing a document of this is my tap, this is this. So they actually see that, okay, there's a process in place. When they're dealing with a smaller builder, a lot of the time it's at their home. I've been part of it myself. My dad rolling out plans on a table and doing an electrical layout, right? It's they don't know what downlights they're getting. They should. So I think as a builder, if you're demonstrating your process and you're demonstrating the inclusions and you're demonstrating every step along the way that, hey, this is what you're going to get and this is how we do business, then you're building trust. And then that trust then obviously turns into a contract and ultimately you deliver as you've specified and there's happy customers. But I think a homeowner should be asking about, okay, what processes do you have and how do you work with your trades? I think, again, you've been very vocal about those trades and what you do in looking for who you work with and how they actually deliver on site. I think they become an extension of your network and part of your sales pitch to potential customers.
Oh, definitely. And in a lot of ways, there should be some more training 100%. For all of these guys to be able to do this. And I know that we've spoken about training many times before. And
this morning?
And this morning, it's one of those things. Do we feel like there should be some more training available to these guys? Not necessarily like large courses or anything like that, but just something that is available to these guys to say, hey, look, there's a better way to be able to do this, but you're going to need to put some effort in because, as we know, there's a lot of guys out there that don't have the business acumen. They don't have the necessary knowledge that's been given to them by good business people. So we know that tradespeople, great technicians. If you've ever heard of the book The E-Myth, The Entrepreneurial Myth by Michael Gerber, reading that one really sort of put some focus on the difference between someone who's a technician and someone who is actually a business owner. And business owners are different from the technician, but the technician, in the technical sense of using the word technician, is they are the tradesperson. They're the people on the tools doing the work. You can be really good at that, but a lot of the guys that are really good at that then also think that they're going to be really good at running a business.
Correct. Yeah. And I think as a business owner, you need to work out what you want to be.
Yes.
Right. So do you want to be on the tools, and are you comfortable just doing those jobs and working really closely with the homeowner and actually doing the work, or do you want to be a business owner and actually say, okay, at some stage I'm going to get off the tools and if that's the case, then you've got to put the right systems, processes, and in a lot of cases, people in place. But to that point, it is around education.
It is very much
It's
so.
around, okay, how do I further my knowledge to work out what good looks like? And then it's not always good in your field. It's actually what does good look like in the best case scenario? And then how do I adopt that to suit what I do on a daily basis? And I think if you look at... in my past role, I spent some time with John, my business partner, developing a suite of products. And as we were testing them with groups, we do it this way, and I'm like, okay, well that's how you do it, but everyone else does it a little bit differently. So what does good look like? And you've got to try to create good. And when we created Builtgrid, it was okay. Well, how does this builder operate? How does this builder operate? So we've created a system where, in a lot of cases, from a procurement point of view, everything's in there, and you then take out what you don't need. Or if you send your information to a concreter and he does supply and install a whole lot, then you can use it. But if you want to buy the concrete and get a concreter just to do the pour, then you can do it that way as well. So we've had to look at what does good look like, and then find a way in a system to make that work. And I don't envy what you guys do as a builder. You're taking 50 different micro industries and actually getting them to one location at one time to build on time and on budget. The reason no other system has done that what we do in the past is because they focus on the builder.
Yep.
That's what does the builder do on a daily basis? How do we make it quicker for the builder? Whereas we've taken that different approach of, okay, what does the supply chain look like? What do those 50 industries look like? What do they need? And how do we systemize that? So it's not until a builder looks at, okay, what does everybody else need? If I do my job, take that extra 5 minutes in providing a little bit more detail, what's the end result? And that end result for you is better quote responses, more detail in understanding what's good for this project. And ultimately that's good for the customer. So that process and that extra time spent in detail actually is a better result. And so as a business owner, as you're building your business, you've actually got to look at it and go, okay, well, what's the right tool for each part of my business? And I think the biggest thing we've learnt in residential construction and custom home builders is a lot of builders want the silver bullet. What is one system that does the whole lot? Whereas in corporate and in other industries, they're using the best tool for the job. And in some cases, it might mean a little bit of data transfer, but that time taken builds a better business, builds a better process, and ultimately delivers a much better result. So, finding that silver bullet, in residential construction, I don't think it'll ever be there. If you look at AI now and all those things that are coming in, there'll never be the silver bullet.
No, they certainly won't. And when talking about a silver bullet, I just had a thought as you're sort of discussing that there, was about how many other different industries that are out there that do deliver a product like a home, but it's not a home. So when we start talking about things like cars.
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing in cars. That's just one industry. There's a very clear line, and where they are very similar, they're delivering a product and they've got to pull in so many different things from so many different manufacturers, so many different people come in to produce this thing. Yes, okay, a car might not be a house, but if you were to look at things like the aeroplane market or boats or those sorts of deliverables, they're all very similar. Are there things that we could be learning from, like the likes of Toyota, which we know have really brilliant systems in place? And why do people buy them? Why do people buy a Toyota in comparison to a Nissan or in comparison to now defunct Holden? Because they know that.
Well, it's a whole other conversation there.
It's a huge one. It's a huge one. But they know that they can deliver it on time.
Off-site manufacturing versus on-site manufacturing, prefab homes. We've recently, a company recently reached out to us that is installing pods there, and they're saying we want to work with you in this space on the delivery of and installation of our pods. So it's there's a whole space around. Realistically, a builder is a manufacturer.
Very much so.
On site.
Yes, very much so. And how complex is it? We find out every day that it gets even more complex every single day.
So that's why having a great process is so important.
It is.
Very much so. And I think currently, a lot of builders still work in their email, right? So when they're even systems today, it's an email to your supplier, and you're placing an order for up to $100,000 worth of material into someone's inbox. So as with Builtgrid, it's a two-sided system that they're seeing the scope, they're seeing the date it's required, they're seeing it, and they're accepting it. And I think that's the big difference in a process about how we do things versus other systems that are out there. In that we actually get the builder out of an email.
Which really needs to happen.
We definitely think residential construction is too important to sit in someone's inbox. Like it's
how many emails get missed?
100%.
So many. I know that I could send out 50 to 100 emails a day. And yes, okay, I've got red receipts on my emails, but the red receipt, I might, out of that 50 or 100, I might only get 2 back.
And so you put it into a supplier's position. They're dealing with 200 builders, and they're getting 200 emails from builders every day, and it's costly. So a system that actually brings them all together and actually allows the supplier to work in one location that's documented, that's signed, that's secure, would give the homeowner extreme confidence that actually this builder's doing the right thing by them.
That's right. The flexibility and the transparency to know that, hey, hold on a second, we've got all this stuff in one place. That's there to help you.
Correct.
It's there to make sure that all of your stuff is going to happen when it's meant to happen. Not that moment of, oh crap, I forgot to do that. And then someone's backtracking and going back over things.
And the biggest, I think one of the biggest things that drives doubt in homeowners is when they see their sites inactive.
Yes.
So when you think about keeping a project moving, when a builder, when there's no work on a site for a day, 2 days, 3 days, the homeowner's going, well, what's going on?
Yeah, and especially if they're living in the home as well, if it's renovation, like they're pulling their hair out. And I feel that every time I'm like, there's nothing happening on site today. I feel terrible because it's not happening, and I'm on the phone chasing guys, and I've been let down so many times it's not funny, and I hold nothing towards anybody for letting me down, but it's just that I feel bad because sometimes my own systems that I've got in place, they haven't worked, and then I'm constantly following up and going, how do I fix it?
Ultimately, in the custom home space, a lot of the builders aren't getting their supplier to sign a document to say, I'll be there at that time.
That's right.
And I think, especially today, the doubt that's raised with the homeowner is, is it a cash flow issue with my builder? Like they start going to these negatives, which then impact their feeling about the whole build. So if you can cut down your inactive days, then your homeowner's going to be happier because they're always seeing progress.
That's right.
You're actually delivering the home on time, or in some cases earlier, so therefore it improves your cash flow. So there's it's benefits all around. And your suppliers are happier because they've done the job to scope. There's no conversation around how much, when, etc., because it's all upfront documented.
And the surety of work for the trades and suppliers. Correct. They know, okay, well, on this date, this is going to be happening there. And how much better does their scheduling get on having that transparency with their builders? Like, it's well and truly one of the things that I see about the system that just takes it leaps and bounds above the rest is just being able to give that level of transparency, because the amount of homeowners that I've spoken to that have just turned around and said, transparency with a builder is our number one thing. Number one thing. And how many conversations can we have about transparency?
We're working on at the moment how we give that visibility to the schedule or to the components that the builder wants the homeowner to see.
Yes.
We're working on that at the moment. So it needs to be there.
Yeah, well and truly. No, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Toby, for joining me today. Brilliant conversation, and something that all homeowners should really get around and really, I guess you could say, put the hard word on your builder. Put your hard word on everyone.
Are you a Builtgrid builder?
Are you a Builtgrid builder? Are you organising yourself in this way? So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is brilliant. It's something that we all should be talking about. And tell us, if there are builders watching this, listening to this, and homeowners, tell us how they can find you. And
Builtgrid.com, you can go there, there's a number there, you can reach out on our socials, any of those ways. Builders can, there's a login button, there's an about us, so if you want to see more about us while we're doing this, it's all on our website. So Builtgrid.com, don't hesitate to reach out.
Beautiful. And there's a picture up there. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can see the picture up there. You can also find me through the Builder's Office and through my business at New Realm Homes as well. And we've been grateful to be able to share this with you. We'll be bringing you another episode. Probably get Toby back on again at some point soon, I'm sure, and we'll be able to find some other great things to be able to bring to yourselves as homeowners, and what can make sure that you guys get the best result from your building experience. So thanks again, and
thank you, Hugh.
we'll chat to you again soon. Thanks a lot, guys.